few memories ever was I went to a fanfare in Vegas. There was just 15 people. A couple guys looked like lawyers, a couple 15-year-old kids with scroungy hair, a couple of mid-aged housewives, just this diverse group of people you would never see together. And they were laughing and talking, and they were all part of the same guild and remembering when so-and-so accidentally did this and wiped the whole party out. You don't get that kind of thing if you can't get your players invested over time going and doing these things. Or you need to get them out there getting the items, not buying them off a secondary market for it. And people who buy their way up are probably going to leave just as quickly on that. What you're really talking about for a lot of your things on the secondary market is making it a primary market. Saying, these things which are bad about it, all of the scamming and the cheating and all that goes on, we should just move that, in-game. Moving that in-game turns it into a primary market, something directly coming through the game. And that's in a lot of cases. If you think this is what's vital to your game, it should be moved into part of your game so it's not a customer support cost. And so it's something that you can monetize instead of relying on other people to monetize it for you. If you rely on other people to monetize it for you, you're going to get screwed. And your customer support costs to keep up with all of the other issues are going to be horrific. And I think that's just a very bad way to go. So I'm still saying secondary markets are a very bad way to do this, that if your company really wants to do it, find a way to do it in-game. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge issue that's just going to cost you a lot of money over time, and it's going to leave your players unhappy. I'll leave you for options.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much. That was a really interesting debate. I think we heard a pretty wide-ranging number of topics, and there are a few arguments, though, that seem to have gone unanswered. And so I was going to turn it over to the audience to ask questions for our speakers, see if you guys could try to get them to drill a little deeper into any particular aspect of the debate that you found interesting or maybe that you felt wasn't completely covered. So we've got a few minutes left, and once everyone gets back, does anyone have any questions for the speakers?
So I guess I'll start with one from Martin.
Okay. Martin, do you want to come over here? Both of you guys can come over, actually. I'll just step aside.
So understanding your stance on the secondary market, like due to the cheat code syndrome, do you think the ability to purchase items will decrease the amount of time a player will spend playing the game, or even quitting the game due to seeing the best items in the game in a short amount of time? And the second question is, do you think that a legitimate secondary market will incentivize normally legitimate players to turn to cheating in order to turn a buck or to stay competitive with the other players?
Right. Coming back to my earlier statement, so you basically call up now secondary market trading cheating. So
No. The secondary market incentivizing cheating to get the item in order to.
And then basically that's what I mentioned before. So that's why it's so important to control your in-game economy. And this is also something you have mentioned before. So I'm not saying that these super rare items you just earn when you are like in a kind of 20 people raid and you spend like 50 hours together and basically you earn the item together. These should be traded on the secondary market. So basically that's why I mentioned control your game balance, control your in-game economy, and then basically monetize those kind of items where people are willing to spend money on and still don't harm the game balance and the in-game economy. If it's like just digital items, if it's like just some kind of fancy accessories, they are super rare, like the kind of spectral type in World of Warcraft that doesn't give you any advantage in the game, but still makes you outstanding because it's rare and you're lucky and you want to monetize it. So let's go for that. But don't encourage cheating and don't really encourage community violation or whatever you want to call it.
Do you think that, like, say the spectral tiger or whatever, where you have to maybe kill a monster or something, do you think it would increase the amount of spawn times that a player will sit there and try to kill that monster over and over and over in order to make a dollar, where somebody who just normally wants to earn it on their own, where that area is camped, do you think that will affect their gameplay?
Yes, it does. And that's again something you should control. So basically, my solution to the problem would be that for instance, if these are like items that can drop if you like kill some very monster, and this is a very rare drop, for instance, so then make it a non-tradable item. But if these are items you find them just randomly open a chest, and therefore don't really
this issue. I mean, I think the whole all this unbalances our game. Let's lay that, I'll call it crap aside for the moment. All I'm talking about is, I still think this ruins the player experience. You find the super rare item, it's buying only, cool. I look cool, then players say, oh, I wish I could trade that. You let them trade that, then they all go and they camp the super rare item thing, and then they complain that there's too much interference to get it. Instead of that, you go, oh, we're going to make this a random 1 in 1,000 drop out of every treasure chest. And people again go, oh, it's too rare, I can't find it. I mean, the basic thing for MMOs in any game like this is the stuff that's harder to get, everybody wants. As soon as everybody can get it, then they look for the next tier of harder to stuff get. You can never actually end that cycle. Anything that people think is the most desirable thing, they are going to go for. That will be the thing that becomes the hardest to get, and that will be your bottleneck there. And in some cases, that can be just solved with game design. But in a lot of cases, if you really want the rare stuff that makes people feel cool for it, there's going to be competition around it. And if you want people getting pissed off that a secondary market is robbing them of their ability to get it, leave it in your game.
Okay, another question?
This one started for Martin. It's a two-part question. The first part is, isn't it true that most secondary markets for popular MMOs actually emerge as a result of the player desire to exploit the mechanics of the game and to circumvent the time investment component? I mean, isn't it true that most secondary markets for any of those games are really a direct result of players not wanting to cooperate with the core mechanics that the game has been designed to present?
A little bit of a leading question, but...
Really? No, it's a pretty good question, and it's something I wanted to refer to just a bit earlier. So we're now talking about mainly MMOs here in this discussion. We're talking about games that have not been designed to handle secondary markets properly. We're talking about games that have been designed for a subscription play, typically for the kind of all-in-one, and now these secondary markets have emerged for whatever reasons. So it could be that you say because they wanted to non-cooperate. It could also be that there is just a huge demand for that, and players and people are just like monetizing this demand, right? So basically there is no demand, there is a proper solution, so they go to eBay, right? But basically, I do agree that the solutions right now on top of these games are not right, but they have not been designed that way. But now we're in a different era, and now there are new games come out, and I'm just proposing that hey, these new games they should also already incorporate proper in-game economy management. These games should incorporate a proper trading mechanism, and therefore be prepared to satisfy this demand for secondary market trading.
I'd like to actually get a question for Jeff.
Actually, I was going to say, can you ask the first part of that again? I lost.
The first part was just, isn't it true that the secondary market phenomena itself has really been a result of players' desire to circumvent game mechanics in popular MMOs? I mean, otherwise, the market really never would have emerged had players not decided that the time was too much or the challenge was too much. And to level that playing field between themselves and other players, this secondary market was created as a result of that.
And I would say, honestly, having been one of those, that's a direct fault of the design team that, we learned along the way. Some of these things absolutely sprung up because, we didn't know.
Well, and I guess that's why it was a two-part question. If it's agreed that that secondary market emerged as a result of that phenomenon.
That's probably not the only reason, but it helped.
But if it's right, if it's a driving factor, then what's the real motivation in enabling a secondary market as opposed to just eliminating a demand for a secondary market to emerge in your actual game design? Why involve people external to your payment and billing mechanisms into your process when you could just design it into your game, knowing that if you don't, secondary markets will emerge to circumvent those systems?
Can I argue the other side for a moment?
If you want, sure.
So the very first time in EverQuest we saw a sword on eBay sell for 150 real dollars. We were all completely amazed, and our CEO, John Smedley, called up the guy who received the sword. He said, why'd you spend 150 bucks on a virtual? It's bad for